Hey, what's up? It's your boy Rugby League Roundup back here with another episode 18 of the Beyond the Tryline podcast. This is my new tipping show, Tuesday tipping show, with my co-host Kynan. How are you, Kynan?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. We've got a pretty exciting week of footy as well as Origin on Wednesday night. How are you feeling about the Blues this week?
To be honest, I'm a bit nervous. The team they've picked could have been stronger,
Yeah,
but hopefully the boys get the job done.
yeah, agreed. I think we've named a better team than the previous two games, but still some areas that we could very much fix. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
agree.
all the best for Wednesday Blues because we're gonna we're gonna need all the luck we can get. But in terms of NRL, we've got 7 games of action. 3 teams have the bye: the Dragons, the Broncos, and the Penrith Panthers. Now, every competition points matters now these last 8 or so rounds. Um, we'll get into the first game, which is the Tigers versus the Warriors. Now, Kynan, will you please take us through the team lists as I
Oh,
scroll?
okay. All right. Well, for the Tigers, you've got Buller at fullback. Your wingers are Skelton and Taruva. You've got Toa and Makasini at centre. Your halves partnership of Luai and Adam Dewey. In the forwards, you've got Terrell May. You've got Lanyon, Bunty Afoa. Your second rows are Samuela Fanu, Sione Fanu, and Alex Twile. And then on the interchange, you've got Lati Fanu, Fiono Polole, and Alex Seyfard, as well as that Tony Sukar, I can see.
Yep, that's Tony
Yep,
Suko. Yep,
yep. Yeah. You got Tavana and also Charlie Murray.
yep. And then the reserves.
Other reserves as well. Obviously, you
Yeah,
got Heath and Jock Madden, who has been very good for the Tigers recently.
yeah,
Surprised to see him there, to be honest. And Jared Haywood.
yep. I'll run through the Warriors side now. At fullback, they have Taine Tuapiki. The wingers are Chance Nickel Clockstead and Alofiana Khan Pereira. In the centres, Ali Leotawa and Adam Pompey. In the halves, Chanel Harris Tavita and Tamare Martin. In the front row, James Fisher Harris and Tanner Stowers Smith. At hooker, Wade Egan. In the back row, Leka Halasima, Jacob Laban, and at lock, Aaron Clark. On the bench, it lines up as Sam Healy, Eddie Iramaya Toava, Dimitri Vaimonga, Marata Niokore, Lukey Metcalf, and Micaiah Tafua. And the reserves are Luke Lali'i, Mitch Barnett, and Kurt Capewell, who are on Origin duty on Wednesday. So, pretty strong teams there, Kynan. The Tigers are coming off a pretty disappointing loss to the Dragons on Saturday night, but they get a huge boost. Luai is back, but on top of that, they get Luai back, but they lose Apisai Coruscant to a pec injury, which will put him out for a month or so. How huge is that for the Tigers?
Yeah, that's pretty big, to be honest. In the forwards, Appy's the one that really gets him going forward. Like
Yeah,
his decision making and just, I don't know, his leadership in the teams plays a big part in that Tigers team, especially if it's been a relatively young Tigers team. I feel like losing Appy is going to be a big loss over the next few months.
I agree. And I think they're going to miss his craftiness because out of dummy half, he can really do anything. He's probably the most unpredictable number 9 in the NRL right now. But on the other side, the Warriors have put another outstanding season together. How good is Andrew Webster as a coach?
He's actually surprised me this year, to be honest. I had high hopes for Warriors, but not as well as they've actually gone. In my opinion, I think they've overachieved, which they tend to do throughout the last few years. And then when it comes to finals, they kind of die out. But I'm hoping this year, for their sake, they don't do that. However, they are looking pretty strong throughout this season.
I agree. I mean, I'm just looking at the defensive stats here, and they have only conceded 270 points this year. Now, that is awesome from the Warriors' standpoint. Andrew Webster has been known for his defense, and this year Luke Metcalf has come back from an ACL injury. He struggled to even make it in the side because the Warriors have been that great. So, yeah, credit to Andrew Webster and the side he's put together up there with the New Zealand Warriors. They're a strong side and they're second for a reason. Now, I'll throw this over to you. Do you think the Tigers will be able to pull this off at home, this upset, or do you think Warriors win?
I mean, they always have the advantage at Campbelltown being the home ground, but I just can't see them doing it. I think the Warriors will knock them off. Warriors has been very strong all year, and I don't see that changing now. I think it'll be close. It'll be Warriors like 1-12.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Warriors to win. I'm gonna go Warriors to win 22 points to 14. I think it'll be close, but I think you'll see Chance Nickel-Krokstad cross for a double, and I think he'll end the game off really well. So I'm going to go Warriors to win 22 points to 14. Now, moving on to the next game, we have the Dolphins versus the Cronulla Sharks. The battle of the sea animals on a Saturday afternoon at KO Stadium. I mean, this has got the potential to be a game of the round, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Both teams are in decent form at the moment, fighting for a top 4 spot. Both look very good this year, and yeah, I can see it being a very good game.
Yeah. And the Dolphins, they had their 8-game winning streak snapped last week by the Knights, losing 13-12 in Golden Point. I mean, it would have been disappointing to lose that, but that run they went on was awesome.
Yeah, haven't seen that in a while from a rugby league team, so I don't think they will take that, they won't take that to heart kind of thing. They will bounce back from that this week. They'll come back stronger. They'll go back to the drawing board and see where they went wrong in that game, and hopefully they get a result.
I agree. I think, especially when you look at that fixture, the players they were missing, Hamaso, Tom Flegler, Max Plath, Isaiah Katoa out with injury, Selwyn Cobbo, just a bunch of names, big names that, they missed on that game. But I think they'll bounce back this week. But looking at Cronulla, Kynan, they lost to Roosters a couple of weeks ago, and Roosters pretty convincingly beat them. But they've put together a few good weeks now, and they beat Brisbane quite confidently towards that end of their game. What do you make of the Sharks? Do you think that could be a threat towards the finals time?
Yeah, 100% they could be. The Sharks have been a very good team for the last few years as well. You've got the likes of Nico Hines, got Trindle, who's playing really well at the moment. Fanil Blake, as I can see here, he's back in the squad. I'm assuming he'd be on the extended. Just having that leadership and that strike force, and those two halves partnership, that halves partnership in its own is good enough to get them deep into that finals run if they can actually not choke it this year.
Yeah. We'll run through the team list now. I'll go through the Dolphins and you can go through the Sharks. So for the Dolphins, it is Try Fuller at fullback. On the wings, Jermaine Asako and Tavita Nafahu. The centers are Jake Averillo and Herbie Farnworth. In the halves, Cody Nikarima and Bradley Schneider. Now, your front row is Felice Kafusi and Francis Molo, and your hooker is Jeremy Marshall-King. The Dolphins' back row is Connolly Lembuelu, Kulikefi Finifuiaki, and the lock forward is Morgan Knowles. On the bench, Kurt Donahue, Ray Stone, Tom Gilbert, Sebastian Su'a, Brian Puniu, and John Finian Ganofo. On the reserves, Hammer, Selwyn Cobbo, Jack Bostock, Max Plath, and Thomas Flegler, who are all playing Origin this week. So could be a lot of lineup changes towards the end of the week there when the teams get updated. But I guess we'll have to wait and see after Origin. Now, Kynan, if you could, please run us through the Sharks team.
Yep, at fullback we've got Will Kennedy. Wingers are Sione Katoa and Ronaldo Mulatalo. Your centers are Jesse Ramian and Kale Iro. In the halves, you've got Braden Trindle and Nico Hines. Yep. In the forwards, you've got Tom Hazelton, Jaden Barrell, and Jesse.
Yep.
Yeah, just Jesse. Yeah,
Jesse
in the second
Colbert.
row, you've got Jesse Colbert. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know much about him, to be honest. Billy Burns, Tate Wilton in the second row, and Cameron McInnes at lock. On the interchange. And you've got Puru, which actually is a pretty good player. He makes a good impact when he's on the field.
Yep.
You've got Talakai, you've got Oregon Kafusi, you've got Toku Hawaii Tupua, and you got Hiroti and Sam Stonestreet. And then on the reserves, another Puru.
Yep.
You got Nicaragua, Blake Brayley, Fanua Blake, who are out for Origin at the moment.
Yep. Now, Dolphins probably have the most explosive attack in the NRL. If Hamiso plays, I think they could well and truly win this one. But I don't know if with the lineup changes. Do you think the Sharks have a chance at winning this game on the weekend?
Oh, of course I do. It's going to be a very tight game. Like I said before, both teams are in very good form, so I could see it going both ways. It just depends on who wants it more on the day.
Yep. In your opinion, what are the key matchups for this game here when you go through it?
I'd say Herbie versus Kale Iro. Obviously, Herbie being one of the best centers in the comp this year. Seeing if Kale Iro can match that.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really see much. Obviously, you got Fina Filiaki and Wilton, two good second roles in the comp, both very creative. My main player is on the bench though, Kurt Donahue.
Yep, he makes a difference.
He makes a massive difference. He's got that dog in him. He loves it. He's a tough player. If he gets on the field and he plays big minutes, he'll be the reason why the Dolphins win, I reckon.
Yeah, he's like another Max Plath sort of player that just come from the bench out of nowhere and he's making a huge difference. That's kind of what Kurt Donahue's turned into for the Dolphins now that Plath's out for Origin. For me, though, I'm going to point out this battle here. Cody Nikorima versus Braden Trindle. Now, if I could just tell the stats for both of these players, Braden Trindle has played 15 games this season, 8 tries and 20 try assists. He also had a period where Hines was out, so he got complete control. And I think, to me, that showed they need to let Braden Trindle take that role of being the dominant playmaker and letting Nico Hines just do his best game, which is running the ball, creating space for others. And I think he did that against the Broncos, and hopefully he does it again this week because when that happens, the combination works really well. On the other hand, though, Cody Nikorima for the Dolphins, what a season he is having. He's so close to inking another extension with the Redcliffe Dolphins. He's played 12 games, scored 4 tries, and has 14 try assists. So for me, the key battle has to be Cody Nikorima versus Braden Trindle. And the other one I'm going to point out here is Trey Fuller versus William Kennedy. Both can be very explosive players. Kennedy kind of underrated with some things that he does, but he's one of those players that does his job really well. Trey Fuller, on the other hand, he's had to wait for his chances. He stayed super loyal to the Dolphins, and he's going to extend with them as well. He's only played 5 games this season, and I just think he's such a quality player. So I think that's a battle that on Saturday, 3 p.m., when the game comes around, that's what people are going to be looking forward to the most.
Just on that, going back to what you said about Trindle and Nico Hines, I agree with you. I think Nico's at his best when he's running the ball. I feel like when the pressure it comes to him and pressure, he's not the best under pressure. We've seen that over the years, especially in final series and big games. I feel like Trindle needs to be the one that takes the control, and Nico, like I said, just does his best. Which he does best is running the ball. And also on Trey Fuller, I agree with you there. Trey Fuller, when he's had the opportunity to play, he's showed up big time. And it's only a matter of time until he gets more game time. And when he does, he'll prove that obviously he's quality enough to start every game, week in, week out.
Yeah. Now for predictions here, let's just assume probably the players back up. What do you think the score will be here? Because this is an important match.
It is actually a very important match coming towards the end of the season. I have the Dolphins winning. I think Dolphins win. I reckon it'll be high scoring because the Dolphins love to score tries.
Yeah.
I reckon it's going to be 34-20 Dolphins.
Yeah, and I actually had 32-20 to the Dolphins in this game. I think it'll be a very high scoring affair. I think Herbie Farnworth will have a day out. I think he could score a double, and I think if Selwyn Kobo plays, he could grab a double as well. So that is the first match of Saturday, 3 p.m. at KO Redcliffe, Dolphins versus the Sharks. Now moving on, Accor Stadium, 5:30 Saturday, Bulldogs versus your team, Kynan, the Canberra Raiders. I'll run through the Dogs team, and you can run through your Canberra Raiders. So I'll start fullback Connor Tracy, the wingers Jacob Kiraz and Jethro Rinakama, Matt Burton and Anari Tuala in the centres. This combination's been working a treat since it's happened. Stephen Crichton at 5'8" and Lachlan Galvin at halfback. In the front row, Max King and Leo Thompson. The hooker is Bailey Hayward. The back row is Josh Curran and Jamin Salmon. And Harry Hayes at lock forward. Now on the bench, we have Kurt Mann, AJ Jones, Jack Underhill, Lipoy Hopboy, Bronson Cherry, and Sean O'Sullivan. On the reserves, he might make his return. We will see towards the end of the week. Jacob Preston, Logan Spinks, and Jed Reardon.
For the Raiders, fullback Kaya Weeks, and the wingers are Sebastian Chris and Xavier Savage. In the centres, Simi Sasangi and Matt Timoko. 5'8", Ethan Strange. Halfback, Ethan Sanders. Your forwards are Corey Horsburgh and Joseph Tarpany with Owen Paddy at hooker. Second rowers are Hudson Young and Noel Martin. Your lock is Zach Hosking, and on the interchange, you've got Tom Starling, Atam Mariota, Josh Papali'i, Dane Laurie, Chevy Stewart, Morgan Smithies. In the reserves, Kobe Black, Jed Stewart, and Joe Roddy.
That's big having big Josh Papali'i back and the Origin players. I don't know if Corey Horsburgh's in the starting side for Origin, but I know Hudson Young is and Ethan Strange on the bench somewhere. So, this is probably the toughest game for me to pick. I don't know about you. The Bulldogs had the bye, so did the Raiders, but Jacob Kiraz had a rib injury in that Titans game, and Jacob Preston could be back. How big are they for the Dogs?
Kiraz is a big loss, obviously one of their best backs. When he's in the wing, he's scoring tries. If he's at fullback, he's sorry, I'm just seeing all the chats pop up at the bottom.
Yeah.
When he's at fullback, very creative. I think his better position is fullback. I know some people won't agree with me on that.
Yeah.
But losing him's a big loss. However, Jacob Preston coming back in, you know how well him and Galvin work together. He's a good lead runner. He can make meters. He's a good player to have, and he'll be very big for the Dogs on the weekend if he plays.
Yeah. Agree. The Raiders, though, they have had a very up and down season, Kynan, from making the finals last year. Is it been a bunch of individuals that have played well this year, or do you think it's just the team gelling now that Jamal Fogarty has left the club, Ethan Sanders and Ethan Strange, and just trying to get that combination right for the future?
It's a bit of both. Obviously, Ethan Sanders coming in to replace Jamal Fogarty. That's a big difference. Fogarty been there for a very long time, a leader, very experienced, very good kicking game. To replace that with someone with the likes of Ethan Sanders, credit to him. He's done okay this season. I feel like, obviously, big shoes to fill. He hasn't filled those shoes properly, but he's done the best he can. And obviously, he being young, it will take time for him to grow. He'll be a good player. Where else we went wrong? I feel like Papali'i's getting old. And instead of going out into the market and finding another front rower, we re-signed him, and he's been out most of the season. So that's kind of bit us in the bum a bit. Other than that, it's just a bunch of young players trying to look for we're trying to build for the future, and it's taking a bit of time to gel.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of the future, one of the players in the outs list is Civilio Tamale. Now, he had a pretty disappointing game against the Dragons. You did see Ricky Stewart get around him, but you can tell he's down on confidence, eh?
Yeah, he 100% is down in confidence, but I will give credit to him. He came into the squad last year, very young, very talented. He's got a lot of potential. He performed last year. This year hasn't backed it up as much. But like I said, he's very young. He might be going for a rough patch. All it takes is a few weeks in reserve grade, bit of confidence. He's back in the first team. That's all it takes. It's pretty simple with footy.
Yeah. And I remember when Xavier Savage had the same sort of period a few years ago, and he was struggling with his footy. But now he's become a mainstay in that Canberra side. Now, for you, Kynan, what are the key matchups in this game?
I reckon my big one is Stephen Crichton and Ethan Strange. Obviously, since Critter's gone into 5'8", Dogs have looked a lot better. Yep. Obviously, Strange being himself doing what Strange does. I don't really have much to comment on that, but that'd be a good matchup, those two. They're both very creative and very explosive and will be a big impact in their team. Another one would be Leo Thompson and Joseph Tarpany. Well, I could even say Max King and Corey Horsburgh. Both those front rows of both teams are both very good. Yeah. Both big bodies. They make meters, leaders of the team. And that will be a good battle in the middle on the weekend.
Agreed, bro. For me, I will have to go with that battle there that you said first. Stephen Crichton versus Ethan Strange. I mean, 2 New South Wales reps. Stephen Crichton with a position change mid-season. Another Cam Serrata decision. That is interesting, but it's happened to work really well since they've moved him there. They're both extremely good runners of the ball, extremely strong, and they're both great defensively. So very similar in terms of the way they play. That has to be the biggest battle of the match for me. But I also think Hudson Young and Josh Curran. I mean, Josh Curran, he's had to be sort of like an impact player off the bench for the Bulldogs most of his time there. But when he was at the Warriors, this guy was probably one of my favorite starting second rowers. I mean, he's a solid second rower. So that battle for me is very important. I think whoever wins that could have a good day out, because Josh Curran started second rower a few weeks ago and he scored a double. So this is a very big battle here. I'll go to you. What's your prediction for this match?
Before we get to a prediction, I'd also like to point out that Jamin Salmon's in the starting squad. Serrato's decided to pick him. Obviously, we obviously know Salmon's history with the Raiders and Ricky Stewart. I think he'll probably have a big game, as he always does against the Raiders. He'll turn up. Last time we played him, I'm pretty sure he scored. He will be a big impact in that game, I reckon, because he's one of those players who just gets under your skin, gets in your head kind of thing. He's their new Reid Marnie now that he's gone, basically, and see how well he can do that to the Raiders on the weekend. Will make an impact in the game. Yeah,
100%. I don't really rate Salmon all that much as a player, particularly, but he might actually get under the head because he has had problems with the Raiders in previous years. For predictions, though, what are you going to go with here?
Obviously, I'm going to have to back the Raiders. I mean, it'd be stupid for me to go against my own team. It will be close. I think it will be 24-22. The Raiders win.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. This game is horrible to pick. This is a horrid fixture. You know what? I'm probably my gut feeling says Canberra, simply because of that Ethan Strange Hudson Young factor there. I'd probably go Canberra Raiders 23-22, if not 24-22. I think it'll go to Golden Point. I think Ethan Sanders will kick the field goal.
Yeah.
It'll be very tight. It could easily go the other way, but my gut feeling right now says Canberra Raiders. Just looking into the comments here, Billy Cosmo says Doggies 13 plus question mark. It might happen. You never know.
It could happen.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on in footy. So, yeah. Moving on to the last fixture of Saturday night, it is the Sydney Roosters taking on the Parramatta Eels at Allianz Stadium. Roosters been one of the best teams in the NRL this season. They are third place right now, but Parramatta came off a really huge win against the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles on Sunday afternoon, winning 23 points to 14. Now, we'll run through the team list here if you can run through the Roosters for us, Kynan.
Yep. Fullback James Tedesco. Your wingers are Daniel Tupou and Mark Nwanga Tawase. Centers Billy Smith and Robert Toya. In the halves, you've got Daly Cherry Evans and Hugo Savala. Nafahu White and Spencer Lanier in the forwards with Connor Watson at hooker. You've got Fogarty and Sua Wong in the second row, and then Victor Radley in the lock. You've got Benaya Alu. I can't, bro, my laptop's way too far away from me. Taylor Lasua, I don't even know how to say that. Egan Butcher, De La Sella Vea, Rex Brastingway, and Tommy Talau.
Yeah. That's a quite a good side they've named there. Cody Ramsey, Reece Robson, Sam Walker, the two Origin players on the extended there. I don't know if they'll bring them back, but it will be interesting to see. I think Roosters still name a strong side. But for Parramatta, Isaiah Iongi is at fullback, Brian Kelly and Josh Adokar on the wings, Jordan Samrani and Raz Nanva in the centres. The halves are Ronald Volkman and Mitchell Moses, which is interesting to see because that means Jonah Pezzett has been pipped out by that much probably because he had such a great performance on Sunday. The front rowers are Sam Tuivasa and Jack Williams. The hooker is Talon De Silva. The back row is Kelma Tuolangi and Kitioni Katonga. And the lock forward is Jack DeBellon. On the bench, Dylan Walker, Tony Mataele, Tinkum Brown, Harrison Edwards, Joash Papali'i, Charlie Geimer, and in the reserves, Saxon Pryke, Riley Smith, and Jonah Pezzett. Now, I just want to get into something here. Daniel Tupou is returning for the Roosters this weekend. It is his 300th NRL game, not only for his career, but for the Roosters, a one-club player. What a legend has Daniel Tupou been for the Roosters and the NRL?
Yeah, he's been around for a very long time, as long as I remember from when I started watching footy. It's always, like I said, when I was young, always been in that number 2 spot, scoring tries, doing what he does best, and I think he'll do the same thing on the weekend.
Yep. Yeah. I think I feel a hat trick coming from Daniel Tupou here. Now I had my whole Parramatta section written around the fact that Jonah Pezzett was going to be the starting 6 or the starting 7. He's neither of them. He's on the reserves. What do you think of that decision? Do you think that's the wrong decision?
I wouldn't say it's the wrong decision. Obviously, they know what's best for the team. Pezzett, I thought, played really well last week. However, you got the likes of Moses in there. Like, Moses has been in that spot for how long? Like, you're not going to take his spot off him. Volkman played pretty well as well. I think Pezzett should have at least been on the bench.
Yeah.
However, that's just footy for you.
Yeah, I really thought that Pezzett would have been 6 and Moses would have been at halfback. But I guess that just goes to show Ronald Volkman at the start of the season, he was missing 8 or 9 tackles per game. Now he's it really improved on that side. He looks decent and he's kept his spot. Jason Riles has shown faith in him and he's been rewarded for it. by being named in the starting lineup after a great Jonah Pezza performance. So, for you, what are the key player performances, the key player matchups, I suppose, in this
Obviously,
game?
obviously going to go with Daniel Tupou and Brian Kelly. Daniel Tupou being his 300th game.
Yeah.
Expect a lot of tries from him as he has throughout his career. Like you said, I'm backing you on that, a hat trick. I reckon he'll get a hat trick. Brian Kelly, on his day, can be a very dangerous winger. He's got a lot of strength. He's very quick. However, it just depends on how he turns up on the day. We know he has his off days where sometimes you wonder why they picked him, but hopefully he proves me wrong.
Yep. For me, I agree, but I think all around the battle of the wingers here, Daniel Tupou and Marky Mark versus Brian Kelly and Josh Adokar. I mean, Adokar's had quite a good season for Parramatta, in my opinion, personally, from what I've seen. And Marky Mark and Daniel Tupou, they're both aerial threats. So it's going to be a good matchup. I also think the battle of the fullbacks, on one hand, you have the origin fullback, James Tedesco. But I think Isaiah Iongi has been just such a good fullback since he's joined Para. He's gone another step further, hasn't he?
Yeah, he 100% has. He's been looked very promising. And when it comes to big moments, he showed up. Obviously, Tedesco is very experienced, so it'll be hard to compete against that. But I'm sure he'll get the job done.
Yeah, agreed. And the last thing I want to point out here is the battle of the halves. Daly Cherry Evans, Hugo Savala, and Ronald Volkman versus Mitchell Moses. I think it's going to come down to those two halves on each side to come up with the big plays for their team because they're all very creative. Hugo Savala, what a solid player. He can play anywhere, really. Ronald Volkman, strong runner of the ball, and Daly Cherry Evans and Mitchell Moses, two experienced leaders of their team. It's going to be a good clash to see. What's your prediction for this match, Kynan?
I think the Roosters win pretty comfortably, to be honest. I don't see it going any other way. I think the Roosters win, I'd say 30-10.
Yep. Okay, yeah. I'm going to go Roosters to win this matchup 38 points to 14. I think Roosters, they're known for their attack. They have such attacking weapons in the air. Even without Sam Walker, if he plays, it's even more dangerous for Parramatta. But that halves combination itself is still pretty good looking there with Cherry Evans and Savala. Pretty dangerous combo. And I think we'll see Daniel Tupou get a hat trick. Moving on to the Sunday fixtures. This is a really big game on Sunday at 2 p.m. It will be the Rabbitohs versus the Newcastle Knights. I think we all know that it will be Jai Arrow's birthday celebration. They've based this whole month around him for July, and I think it's great what they're doing for him, the cause. What do you think about this? It's going to be a big game, isn't it? Top 8 clash.
Yeah, of course. Top 8 clash. A lot of passion, a lot of emotion for the Rabbitohs. Obviously, you and I both know Jai Arrow, sorry, from last year working with the Rabbitohs. We know how much he means to the club, how much he means to the players, and you've seen it through like their promotion and just the emotion in that team for him and to go out there and play on the weekend. I think the Rabbitohs will be stronger than we've seen all year.
Yeah, and I think the Rabbitohs will be wanting to get back on the winning column. Sorry, after last week's performance where they just weren't clinical enough, and that the silly Simpian, and that's one thing I want to mention, that Cody Walker was probably the player that wanted to play most in this game. He now misses out because of his suspension for kicking Jack Cole or Jack Cogger. I think either one of them. Yeah, so it's a bit of a shame that he gets to miss out on that. But we're about to run through the teams. If you don't mind, kind of to take it away here, run through the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Yeah, you got Matt Duffy at fullback. Wingers are Dane Jennings, who actually played really good last week. Campbell Graham. In the centres, you've got Talix Dunk and Jack Wyden. In the halves, you've got Jaden Sullivan and Ashton Ward. In the forwards, you've got Tavita Totola, Keon Klonga Matangi, and Brendan Smith at hooker. Second rollers, Ewan Aiken, David Fafita, and your locks, Cameron Murray. On the bench, Lockie Hubner, Jamie Humphries, John Raddell, Liam LeBlanc, Jai Gray, Latrell Sewell, and then reserves, Edward Cossey, Tom Fletcher, and Peter Mamazulis.
Pretty strong team they've named there without a few players still. Latrell out, Cody Walker now out for this game. I think it's a surprise that Jai Gray's been dropped to the reserves. I mean, or to the interchange bench at least. I mean, what do you make of that decision, Kynan? They've done it already a few weeks ago against the Cowboys, and now they're doing it against Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm pretty shocked, to be honest. Obviously, you know my thoughts on Jai Gray. I rate him very highly. I thought last year he was probably their best player. This year's been up there for their best player. Very quick, explosive. He makes a lot of meters coming out of their own half, and he's very creative. So to see him get dropped for Matt Duffy, who, credit to him, when he's been called up, he's played very well. However, I just feel like it's not the best decision in my opinion, but obviously Wayne has reasons to pick him, and hopefully that pays out on the weekend.
See, I don't mind this decision at all. Although I love Jai Gray as a player, I just, from what I know about Matt Duffy, from what I've seen at the Dragons, and from what he's done at the Rabbitohs so far, his playmaking ability, I mean, he can just create tries from nothing, really. He'll just have to throw a cut-out pass, and no one sees it coming at all. I mean, it's quite entertaining to watch, and he doesn't even have to pass the ball. He can just run, and he'll go through a hole. So Duffy, pretty explosive fullback, so I don't mind that decision, but I can see why South fans might be a little bit odd with that decision there. But moving on from the Rabbitohs, onto the Knights side now. Kalen Ponga at fullback, Dominic Young and Greg Marzu on the wing, Dane Gagai and Bradman Best in the centres, and the halves are Fletcher Sharp and Dylan Brown. The front row is Cody Hopwood and Trey Mooney. Your hooker is Phoenix Crossland. The back row is Dylan Lucas and Jermaine McEwen, and the lock forward, Matt Croker. The bench is Sandon Smith, Tyson Frizzell, Lachlan Crouch, Thomas Cant, and Harrison Graham, as well as Fletcher Hunt. On the reserves, Francis Manuleilua and Tyson Gamble, as well as Kyle McCarthy. Now, Newcastle, they are definitely known for their attacking prowess and winning in high-scoring games. But over the past few weeks, I know against the Dragons, 22 points to 20, very close. They probably should have whacked us, but we fought really well. And last week against the Dolphins, 13 points to 12. They're showing that they can get the games done in a close manner now. That's a good sign if I'm Justin Holbrook.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think they could make it far in the final series, or do you think they don't have the power?
Oh, you never know, to be honest. Look, they played pretty well throughout the season. You got the likes of Kalen Ponga, who's a star. Like, he's one of those players that if your team's down, he could turn it around in a second kind of thing. Like, he can turn nothing into something. I feel like if he's fit and doesn't get injured, then I can see them going far. I don't see them winning the finals, but I can see them going far into it.
Yeah. Same. I agree. I think they could go far enough. Jacob Saifidi is a big loss. He's actually been really good this season. When he got picked for Origin, different story, because I didn't really think he was that great, but he has been good for the Knights, and that's still a big loss. For this match, though, my key player matchups, Matt Duffy versus Kalen Ponga, both attacking threats. I think that's a big matchup, as well as Tallis Duncan and Jack White versus Dane Gagai and Bradman Best. Those are my key matchups there. All powerful sort of players, especially the centers. That's going to be a great matchup to watch. What's your matchups, Kynan?
Um,
Kynan?
I think mine's in the forwards.
Yep.
I've got Trey Mooney and Keon Klonga-Matangi. I feel like Saifiti's a big loss, but Trey Mooney coming into the squad is a very, very big boost for them. Obviously, both of them are very tough leaders in the middle. Trey Mooney being a bit younger and not as experienced. However, we've seen throughout the year he can get the job done, and I feel like that would be a good battle. Also, going back up to the wingers.
Yep.
You've got Dane Jennings and Dom Young. I'll point that out because Dane Jennings last week, obviously Terry Sharks Jr., very good player. Obviously, we saw him developing in SG Ball last year. Surprised a lot of people by being selected, but obviously when it came to the game, he showed up. I feel like he will be a big threat on the weekend, and obviously Dom Young, his height, his speed, he's always an aerial threat, and he always likes to score tries, and I feel like that would be a good matchup on the weekend as well.
Yeah, agreed. I think Dane Jennings, wow, what a player. I talked about it yesterday with some more detail, but yeah, definitely one of the players to look out for the future for South Sydney. For my prediction for this match, I'm going to go South Sydney to win 26 points to 14. I will be there. I will be attending. I do have a soft spot for South Sydney through my connection with that club. But I genuinely think they can win this match, and I genuinely think that with the incentive of Jai Arrow's birthday, they're going to want to go out and put on a big performance for Jai Arrow and the fans at South.
I feel like it's going to be a close match. Obviously, I'd like a high-scoring match considering both teams can score points very easily. But I feel like, it would be relatively low-scoring this time. I feel like the Rabbits will get the win, but it's going to be 18-16.
Yeah, I can see that very much happening. It's going to be a good match at 2 p.m. on Sunday night. But that is it for the Rabbitohs versus Knights fixture. We move on to the game, the 4 p.m. game, free-to-air TV, the Sea Eagles versus the North Queensland Cowboys. Big top 8 clash. Cowboys obviously outside the 8, Eagles just inside the 8. This is an interesting matchup. Another tough one to tip. But Manly were poor against the Eagles on Sunday afternoon. While Cowboys, they had the bye last week, but the week before, a really strong performance against the Penrith Panthers, who had their origin stars for that match. What are your thoughts on this match?
I reckon potentially match of the round, to be honest. I feel like Manly coming off last week's loss pretty poor. They need to bounce back. Obviously, we've seen the likes of Fozball and how much of an impact that's had and how well they can play. And then the passion over the last few weeks from the Cowboys, obviously, like you said, knocking off the Panthers, that was a big win for them, big boost in confidence. So I can see this being a very good game.
Yeah, this is gonna be a big game. I'll run through the Eagles team list here. Tom Trebojevic at fullback. The wingers, Jason Saab and Lehigh Hopewade. The centers, Tolu Taukula and Ruben Garrick. The halves, Joey Walsh and Jamal Fogarty. The front row forwards, Taniela Paseka and Kobe Hetherington. The hooker, Jake Simpkin. The back row is Homoli Olakawatu and Ben Trebojevic. And the lock forward, Jake Trebojevic. On the bench, Corey Waddell, Nathan Brown, Ethan Bullymore, Simeone Laiafi, Josh Felity, and Aaron Shute. In the reserves, Blake Wilson, Fletcher Baker, and Nicholas Lanaz. If you don't mind taking us through the Cowboys side, Kynan, I will scroll.
At fullback, we've got Scott Drinkwater, wingers, Braden Burns and Murray Talangi, Zach Labert and Tom Chester in the centres, Jackson Purdue and Jake Clifford in the halves. Forwards are Thomas Michele and Jason Tamalolo with Reid Marnie at hooker. You've got Heelan Lukey and Jeremiah Nanai at second row with Ruben Cotter at lock. On the bench, you've got Sonny Luke, Griffin Neme, Matt Lodge, Colin Hess and Sam McIntyre and John Bateman. In the reserves, you've got Liam Sutton, Ethan King. You've got Ronald Filatoga and Tom Dearden.
That's big having Tom Dearden just in that list there. If he plays, I could see this going the other way round, but we'll get into the player matchups first. For me, Tom Trebojevic, there's one matchup: Tom Trebojevic versus Scott Drinkwater. Now, as a Dragons fan, I am excited to see Scott Drinkwater play every week. His attacking numbers are just insane. Every year, he combines for about, on average, 42 tries and assists. I mean, that is ridiculous. And we all know, without injuries, the player that Tom Trebojevic can be. So that is my key player matchup for this game.
Um, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, really. That's probably my key matchup as well. You've covered pretty much all the bases there. However, I will highlight Joey Walsh.
Yeah.
Obviously, Luke Brooks being out for the rest of the season, Joey Walsh coming in, a very young, very talented. We'll see what impact he has on the game in the weekend. And obviously, having Fogarty as his half partner is very good, being a very experienced half. Can obviously learn a lot from him and help him around the park. And yeah, that partnership will be very interesting for it to like that weekend and the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be intriguing to see young Walshy there. He has a lot of potential. So that's going to be a big game Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m. What's your prediction for this match? Who do you think is going to win?
Well, so this is a hard one. They could go both ways. Look, I think if Tom Dearden plays, like credit to Jay Clifford, very good player. But I feel like if Tom Dearden plays, the Cowboys will edge it. But obviously, going off the basis that he's in the reserves, I'll say Manly get the win, but it'll be very close. I'm saying 2018.
Yep. I'm going to go Eagles to win this one in a tight contest. If this was the other way around and Cowboys were the home side, I'll probably say Cowboys quite confidently. But I think Eagles are swaying me. The way they play at Manly is it's quite hard to beat them. So I'm going to go Eagles to win 20 points to 12. I think Homoli Olakau'atu is going to have a big game on Sunday. So that is going to be a good game to see. Must watch. The last game of the round, Amy Park, Melbourne Storm versus the Gold Coast Titans. Now, Storm have had a struggling season this year, but no Jerome Hughes for a while. Oh, actually, I think, no, he's back, actually. Never mind. I got told that he would be missing a bit of time, but it seems they've pushed him back into the side. This is a weird game because either team could win this, but we'll run through the team list first, and then we'll go into a bit of depth. If you don't mind running through the Storm team, Kynan.
Yeah, you've got Sua Follow at fullback. You've got Will Warbrick and Manaya Wataya at the wings. And the centers, you've got Jack Howard, Nick Meaney. In your halves, Cameron Munster, Jerome Hughes. You've got Stefano Ukumatomanu and Josh King at the prop. Harry Grant, hooker, Cooper Clark, Alec McDonald, and Trent Liero on the bench. You've got Tyron Wishart, Joe Chan, Jack Everington, Josiah Palu, Oren Keeley, and Trent Talau, as well as on the reserves, Davey Mawali, who I think is unlucky not to be in the squad as much this year. You've got ST Brown and Gabriel Satrick and Hayden Watson.
Yeah. I mean, just before we get into that Titans team, Jerome Hughes is a big in. I mean, he was rumored to be out for a few weeks, and he's made his way back into the squad. How huge is that for Melbourne?
Yeah, it's massive, to be honest. Jerome Hughes, obviously, very veteran halfback, very experienced. Played a lot of finals, played a lot of time for the Storm. He's their go-to when it comes to finding like someone to get them along, get them going. Obviously, in a struggling season for the Storm, having him back is very big.
Yep. And if the Storm are to have any chance at making the finals, I think they're going to try and push him along to make sure they make it. I'm going to go through the Titans side now, but they've had a few good weeks, the Titans, but the game against the Dogs was a bit of a setback and a bit of a disappointment, in my opinion. The only player that could really hold their head high in that game was Philip Sami with a hat trick. But this game, they're going to need to be on. They cannot lapse at all. We'll run through the side here. Keanu Kinney at fullback. The wingers, Dean Eremaya and Philip Sami. The centers, Jojo Fafita and AJ Brimson. The halves, Jaden Campbell and Zane Harrison. In the front row, Mawaki Fotuaika and Tino Fa'asur Malawi. The hooker is Oliver Pascoe. The second row, Aramahau and Beau Fermont. And at lock, Chris Randall. The bench is Curtis Morin, Josh Paxton, Cleese Haas, Cooper Bai, Sam Verrills, and Jalen DeGroot. The reserves, Jet Liu, Lachlan Ilias, and Siali Fayamani. What's the key matchup for this game, Kynan?
I reckon there's two. You've got Suafalongo and Keanu Kinney. Obviously, both very young, very talented fullbacks. Very creative, very explosive. Kinney, obviously, good to see him back this year after his injury last year. And Suafalongo, obviously, had big shoes to fill, replacing Ryan Pappenhausen. But, yeah, he's lived up to that expectation, and I see both of them being key people on the weekend to get a result for either side.
Yeah. This will be a big game. I agree with you on the Suafalongo and Keanu Kinney matchup. I think that's a big battle, main one in my opinion. Both very explosive fullbacks. For me, I'm going to go with a bit of a whitewash here. Storm 46, Titans 18. I think this is going to be diabolical. I actually think this could get quite bad. I just think Storm, they need it. They're desperate. They're going to want to make the finals, and I think this is where it starts for them.
See, I'm not agreeing with you on that. I reckon the Storm obviously need to make finals, obviously, of that, and I feel like the pressure will be too much for them. Obviously, Amy Park's a fortress for them. They don't lose there very often. However, I feel like the Titans are at a point where they probably won't make finals, and they'll become that team that upsets like other teams trying to make the finals. And I feel like the Titans will just edge it over the Storm, surprisingly. I feel like the Titans will win. I think it's going to be 24-12, the Titans.
Wow. We're quite opposite, and I think my prediction's a bit extreme, but I really think they could smack them. So
that's go both ways, to be honest.
It could. It definitely could. That's it for the tipping. I'm just going to run through the comments before we wrap up the show. And he says, for the sake of the Dragons, I hope the Roosters smoke the Eels. Yeah, we kind of need everything to go our way right now. The Storm flog the Titans. Yeah, we need that too. But that's not why I tipped them. But yes, that would be good to see. Loving the Dry July concept too. It's wonderful to see the NRL rally around him. Yeah, I think NRL have done really well to raise money for him, get this whole concept in. And it was all really quickly done too. So very good to see that everyone is backing him. Costa Coletas says South 50 plus. Yep. It'd be quite an enjoyable match with a lot of tries. Billy the Kid. Yeah, that's me, Big T. That is me. So that's it for the comments. That wraps up the first Tuesday tipping show here on the Beyond the Tryline podcast, episode 18, with my new co-host, Kynan. I would like to say thank you for everyone that watched the stream. I hope you all enjoy. I will be back tomorrow, hopefully, with an Origin preview. I don't know if that's going to go ahead yet or not, but there will be some more updates on that. So be sure to stay tuned for any announcements on my YouTube channel or social media pages. But that's it from me, guys. I hope you had a good day and enjoyed the podcast very much. So thank you. That's it from me. And it's been your boy, Rugby League Roundup. Take care, guys.